I would have said almost the same thing. I really believe, generally speaking, my sense is that don't ever underestimate what nature can do for you. I just really believe the natural world. Sometimes we have this assertion that we understand the natural world and everything that's not explained with the laws of nature that we have right now is somehow not natural. And I just really believe that there's a lot to learn still. We learned that, frankly, as we turn around, put up telescopes, look into the deep sky. There's a lot to learn. And I think the same is true when we look at our own planet and even our own airspace. Lean into those kind of high-risk, high-impact kind of areas.
Yeah, and just to add a little bit, I think we have to approach all these questions with a sense of humility. I spent most of my career as a cosmologist. I could tell you we don't know what makes up 95% of the universe. So there are things we don't understand. I hope this study moves us forward to understanding these phenomena better. But
the one difference, of course, between this and other agencies is we expect this to be entirely in the public domain, which is what Dan Evans already said.
Hey there, just following up on that last question. So just dovetailing, NASA has tens of thousands of hours of video of spacecraft, the International Space Station. It can be argued that NASA's got more access to public data looking up and looking down than any other public organization in the world. So are we to understand that you will be reviewing all that's accessible publicly within NASA, as well as other public videos or signals intelligence or whatever that may be, and putting it in a study for $100,000 or less?
Okay, I can answer that. This is Dan. This is no different to any scientific investigation that we would undertake. And the first step in any of those investigations is to figure out what data is at hand. That's step one. This is all this study is doing, is to figure out what data one might use to interrogate better UAP. Okay, we're not actually going to be, certainly within that budget, analyzing those data directly. This is just step one. What data are out there that could be brought to bear upon the problem?
Relate to what are the data we should be looking at? How should we be doing that? Are there data we should get that are not currently there? So it's much more kind of that the output from this particular study is not to sift through all the data and do all this research. It's to kind of make a proposal for a research program that we can then implement based on the inputs and the principles that are there. Dave, I'll kick it to you.
Our next question is from Kenneth Chang with the New York Times. You may go ahead.
Thank you. This is for Thomas. So I was wondering, now that NASA is sort of openly to the possibility that there could be intelligent aliens visiting Earth, what are the prospects that NASA could get back into business looking for alien intelligence in the universe? NASA has done hardly any SETI work for decades, and a lot of it was because of skepticism from Congress, but it seems Congress seems to be more open to that now.
So we have done work on both looking at kind of the sky at a variety of wavelength ranges, but also looking for techno-signatures, and I'm currently funding those research projects. And so yes, it is true that kind of there was a period where perhaps that was less abundant, but now we've deliberately included that into our research portfolio. So I'm not aware of kind of research we're artificially stifling from one or the other side. What we're really trying to do here, though, is start the investigation without an outcome in mind. Really being open to many different options. I think David Spergel said it well, right? Being aware that multiple sources of explanations could be there. But I'm not aware of any guidance that I have or that I've implemented that kind of would prohibit a given set of research.
And we do have some things that have been funded on techno-signatures, if you want me to follow up with you on that.
And we have just we do have some things that have been funded on technosignatures. If you want me to follow up with you on that, our one set of guidance is it's always from space observations because that is what we do. So we don't fund from ground-based observations.
Question is from Irene Klotz with Aviation Week. You may go ahead.
Thanks very much. I think this is probably for Dr. Spergel. As the study group leader, will you have access to classified information? And if not, how will that limit the scope of what you're able to collect?
I do not have classified clearance, and we want this to be an open study. So what we will rely on is some members of the committee will have clearances. If we need some insights, we can obtain them, I hope. But mostly, I think we will be trying to see what we can learn from the open data. As we've mentioned already, I think there's actually likely a lot of information in the open data that has not been looked at yet, not been used. And we can use open processes for learning much more going into the future.